So 3 days ago, we moved all 4 of the steel kits that are 4 weeks old in here. And then 2 days ago, we moved all, I believe it was 6. I don't remember how many it was. It was around 6 of the otters, and Mongo, our only chestnut. I left the 2 otter does in the big colony. There was one smallish one and one bigger one. I wanted to, just let them just see which one did better over the long run. So we had all the bucks in here, but then we left the otter does in there because I do want to keep an otter doe for a future breeder, but I decided to make sure I picked the right one. As I was watching the 2 does, I could tell that, I don't know, we had like a smaller one and then a bigger one. And I was thinking, I was like, well, they're not going to get any bigger. Like the smaller one isn't all of a sudden going to grow super fast, and the bigger one isn't all of a sudden going to grow super small. And the bigger one obviously got fed more, so she's more of a good eater. She's more of a good fighter. She's more hardy. So why hold on to 2 of them for a long time if I already kind of know which one's going to be the best? I mean, the worst that could happen is that my big one dies, and then I'll just keep a big one from another litter. So I'm not going to keep this little one. So I decided to move her in. When yesterday I moved her and all of the black kits into here. So now we have all the steels, all the otters, all the blacks, and our one chestnut. And then we have one otter doe named Dasha now in the big colony. So I believe we have 18 kits in here, and for some reason they love feet. I hold them all the time. They're super friendly, and they just are crowd around my feet whenever I come in. There's rabbits at my feet, and it's really hard to walk because there's this narrow space and then it opens up. But so it's very interesting. We used to have our feeder hanging here. Yeah, it was here across the top, then it hung down there, and I really didn't like that. It was bumping up against the wire, and it was lopsided and feed was spilling out, so I moved it over here. I got this, I don't know what this is called. I think it's called rebar, but maybe I'm wrong. It's metal, and it kind of has little it goes around and round and round, metal looky things. And then I tied it there, so now it's not bumping up against anything, and there's a lot of room behind it, so everyone can get a spot to eat. And because we moved the food here, we had the one hidey house over here, so I had to move it over here. So now we have a big area with the hay and where they kind of hang out. We have the water on top of one thing, and then they have another thing, and then over here is their food. And so far, no one has escaped. I think I don't know if it helped. I don't know if they just never were going to escape and I was just scared, but we have had no escaping bunnies. We haven't had anyone sick or having problems with being weaned. And something interesting to note, I counted up. See, whenever we put the babies in, we put marks on their ears. So red for girls, blue for boys. So the girls look like they have bloody ears. And it's oh, girls has blood. Oh, wait, no, that's just marker. So what we did is I counted up the does and the bucks. I remembered, oh, there's 2 of this color and 5 of that color. So I kind of added up. So I'm out of my calculations. I didn't go 1, 2, 3. I didn't count like that. I kind of had to figure out in my head. So I could be wrong. But if I remember correctly, we have 8 does, little babies, and 11 bucks. So Barlow, their dad, did a pretty good job of giving us equal amounts of girls and boys. So now my plans for these babies are, yesterday we weaned them all, so even though some were weaned earlier, 2 days earlier, I'm going to just start with the latest ones that have been weaned. So then we don't, mix up, oh wait, these ones can be slower today, but these have to wait too. It'll be very confusing because we did over a few days. So I'm just going to start with the last weaned ones. We're going to pretend they were all weaned on that day, just for easier for me to remember. So we are going to wait a week from when the last ones were weaned, and then we are going to sell them. I'm going to separate them into 2 categories. We're going to have the brood quality or the breeder quality babies, and then the pet quality babies. We sell most of our babies. We either sell for breeders, for other people who want to start breeding meat rabbits and they want good stock, or as pets. These guys have great meat rabbit genetics. They're growing fast. Their moms had good mothering instincts. They do well on forage. They're hardy. They're really super sweet, so I want to provide good quality meat rabbits for people, but then we don't have all good meat rabbit quality rabbits. We have a few runty babies. they're not super small or anything, but they are smaller than some of our huge monsters, like Mongo and some of the bigger babies. So some babies we have are just huge, chunky rabbits. They like fought for a place to nurse all the time. They got tons of food, and they're like eating like crazy, like super awesome and great. And some babies, they are like really awesome fighters, but they're really small, so they didn't get fed a lot. But they're still, great, and they're hardy, and they weren't weak, because the weak babies who didn't get enough food died. But these guys are strong. But they're not, big. They're little. So they're going to pass that on to their children. And you don't want that in meat rabbits. If you're trying to get the most muscle out of your rabbits to butcher as young as possible, you don't want to start with small growing rabbits. So basically, I'm going to separate them into big rabbits and little rabbits. The big rabbits, who are big or like normally size, like good fast growing rabbits. I mean, they all have great genetics and stuff. But it's just how they happen to get enough food when they were little. So the smaller ones who didn't get enough food when they were really little, I mean, they're still eating fine and stuff now, but they're just not going to be as big. Will be pets, because really people who have pets don't really care how big they are and how fast they grow, whereas people who are wanting to breed meat rabbits, they really do care how fast they grow. So we're going to have the pet quality, which is the smaller, and then the breed quality, which is the bigger ones. So yeah, basically all I'm going to do with these babies is feed them and water them and hug them and like pet them and get them used to people, because for like the next week, and then we'll post them places and we'll see how fast they go. They could all be gone in a week. We could have some for months more. We don't know. But whoever we can't sell when they're big enough to be butchered, so we're going to keep having them posted until they're big enough and old enough to be butchered. So once that time comes, we're probably just going to butcher them if they didn't sell. So that is our current setup with these babies. We're just going to keep doing the same thing and then sell them off one by one, two by two, until they're old enough to butcher, and then we will butcher the rest we didn't sell. Super easy.